Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we talked about this a couple of days ago, but I think we should do a video on it because it's funny. The media is angry that Top Gun Maverick had too much Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Too much Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's a problem.
And this was on top of the media being angry that Top Gun Maverick was too patriotic. The Top Gun Maverick, it just, how dare Top Gun Maverick without any kind of quote unquote progressive woke politics make as much money as it did.
And that should be left in the past. No one wants these movies.
Nobody wants
But
these
it's
movies.
kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this because it's really interesting, you know, the box office records that Maverick is breaking. It's actually passed Frozen 2, I think at this point. I think it might have passed Black Panther or is getting close to passing Black Panther. And it's still making money at the box office, even though it's available on digital. It's available for home release. It's we haven't seen anything like this in a long time.
It's almost like there's a demand for it or something.
Yeah, and it's so weird because the media was actually dunking on this movie too. Like, how dare they double dip and go back with a special edition in the theaters when Marvel
You know
did it.
what? It's just all those Russian troll bots buying tickets and physically going to the theater to see the movie that is raising the numbers.
So we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that maybe this is the beginning of the end of superheroes being the top genre at the box office. I mean, we've seen a decline in Marvel movies over the last year or two. Maybe people are done. Maybe people are noping out. You know, this happened with Westerns. This happened with musicals. You know, Hollywood cycles. It's like the public is all about spy movies for a while until they're not. And they're all about Westerns until they're not. And they're all about musicals until they're not. And it might be time for a big change. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 275,000 subs.
Woo!
Gotta get the woohoo in there. Thank you for the support. We did mention this briefly in another video we did a couple of days ago, but I just think this is ridiculous. This is comic book resources. And look, I'm gonna be honest, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, no, these websites, these pop culture websites literally write the most stupid, outrageous articles they can think of because they get paid per click. So they're looking for shit to complain about. And I think they watch videos like ours looking for shit to try to bait people. And then we make money off of them and they make money off of us. And it'll just kind of...
I don't think people, they aren't making money off us because
They're
people
not
are just
making-
watching the video and not...
They're just watching the video anyway. So we're gonna talk about this because you know, this isn't the first time I've heard a complaint about Top Gun being it's too patriotic, it's too masculine.
It has too much Tom Cruise.
Now it's got too much Tom Cruise. Top Gun Maverick has too much Tom.
They should have made everybody equal and given them equal screen time in the 20-hour movie that would have been Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it subverted their expectations because basically they expected, and they talk about this, they expected it to pass the mantle like all these other franchises.
The ones they never do? You mean the ones that they should do and never do? And they kind of did here in this one. They kind of do.
Yeah, but not at the expense of Maverick.
Right, not at the expense of Maverick.
Right.
But these other shows need to pass a mantle, but they don't. They just give it to them and say, hey, you got it, you didn't earn it. This one, people had to earn it.
Top Gun Maverick has too much Tom Cruise. New Top Gun focuses plenty on Maverick, but misses out on any kind of real story for the young pilots who make up the rest of the cast. The movie is called Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Not Top Gun Susan.
Top Gun, rest of the class.
Not Top Gun The New Generation. The Next Gen. It's called Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick is a film obsessed with the past. As a sequel to a movie from over 30 years ago, this shouldn't be too surprising, but still striking how much of the film concerns itself with Maverick, played by Tom Cruise.
Again, in the film called Top Gun Maverick.
The original Top Gun centered on his exploits as a student at the titular Top Gun, the Navy's special school for the top 1% of fighter pilots. Maverick's trailers and promotional campaigns seemed to suggest it would follow the same formula.
It did. It's Top Gun Maverick.
Introducing a new generation of young pilots with Maverick serving as their instructor.
That's kind of what it did.
It's technically accurate, but misleading.
Not really.
While the film does introduce a squad of a dozen pilots, they don't attend Top Gun. Instead, well, because the brand is Top Gun. Lord of the Rings of Power, has jack shit to do with the actual Lord of the Rings. the storyline or the Tolkien or any of it. It's not even the Lord of the Rings story. That's okay.
Because it's what they want.
It's Lord of the Rings adjacent. No, it's because Lord of the Rings is the brand everybody knows. They can't call it Maverick and Friends. They can't call it Maverick anyway because that was a Western.
It's true. They're not. It's true. They brought the people back that were graduates for a special mission that they needed to do. That is true. But he's still their instructor, and like basically he's the one teaching them, walking them through what they need to do. And it was a suicide run, they thought,
right?
And all this other crap. So it's not really that different, honestly.
Oh, so yeah, the premise wouldn't be detrimental to the film's story, but it rings hollow in the face of how little attention actually gets paid to the new recruits.
There's actually quite a bit of attention paid to the new recruits.
The younger generation of pilots is a colorful cast with names like Rooster, Phoenix, Hangman, and Susan. And no. I just made up. Susan's my OC. Actually, it'd be funny if Susan was like this big burly guy.
That'd be great.
That's Susan. Hey, what's up, man? I'm Susan. And when they're introduced while playing pool at a bar, the chemistry between them is electrifying. They're the best of the best.
It's okay.
They're the best of the best. After the early parts of the film, the focus is dropped from them and is entirely on Maverick and Rooster.
Because the main point of the film is Maverick and Rooster. I mean, it really is. But they are still given attention. They're still part of the mission. But in the other film, it was Maverick, Goose, and Iceman. Yeah. So how is it any different? Just like, and it's Maverick and it's Rooster, and then was the Hangman? Was that the bad one? This one, yeah.
So Rooster was the grown-up son of Goose. Well, that was a huge plot point in the first movie. Golly, wouldn't it suck if like we introduce the son of Goose and then we focus on Susan? Because,
there's no Susan, just so people don't get confused.
You've never watched the movie Clownfish. There's no Susan. But there should have been.
This is Neon starting his own OC, much like they do with, fan fiction. Anyway,
why the hell? That's going to be my next article. Why didn't Top Gun pay more attention to Susan?
Who's Susan?
Who the fuck is Susan? Well, that's what I'd like to know. That's why it needs to be called Top Gun Susan. There's not enough Susan in Top Gun. Who's Susan? She's there in the background somewhere.
Can we get to the point?
Yeah.
Because you're like all over the place.
There's nothing wrong with Maverick and Rooster's bond, but shouldn't have been the only one. Should have been part of an element of a larger film. It's only a 2.5 hour movie.
Right.
You can only do so much. Cruise has too much screen time, including a romantic subplot that doesn't contribute to the plot and a diversion to visit Iceman halfway through.
They wanted to get Val Kilmer in there.
Val Kilmer's not doing so good. He really wanted to be part of this movie.
They made it happen.
It connects to the first movie.
Are you an age? Wait, is this ageism? Are you an istophobe?
That's like Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Against disabled people?
God, Ghostbusters Afterlife. There were literally articles out there. I saw them. Ghostbusters Afterlife. For some reason, in Ghostbusters Afterlife, she picks her one phone call to call one of the legacy cast members, and that doesn't make any sense because it needs to connect to the first movie. That's why people are going to see these movies. It's a sequel to a movie, and Iceman was a main character in that movie. Actually, that role helped make Val Kilmer's career. We still have Val Kilmer. We don't know how much longer we have Val Kilmer, but good on them for getting Val Kilmer into the movie. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, no. This movie is kicking everybody's ass, and they're salty about it. And that's what this whole thing's about, is them being salty and just vomiting their salt on everybody else.
Wait, this is the last sentence?
Yes.
This is the last sentence. Top Gun Maverick makes it clear the titular character is past his prime, but doesn't leave much room for anything else. Oh,
yes,
fuck off.
Right. But that's why Top Gun is kicking everybody's asses.
They're so angry. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know if they're really angry. I don't know if they really are. I thought for the longest time these journalists are really angry. I think they were at first, but now I think they're just playing the game. But they can't fathom that this movie, without a political bent, without like passing the mantle and killing off Maverick, they would love that.
And making it a female lead.
Right. Maverick dies in the first 10 minutes.
A non-white female lead.
That's like, yeah, right. That's Susan.
Who's a lesbian.
Susan. Yeah, mostly. Female presenting.
She's probably blind too.
And yeah, she is so amazing. She is the first blind fighter pilot.
That's right.
That the Navy's ever had. That she's that good.
No, we can't do that because
she can smell the jets.
We can't
She can
do that.
smell the jets.
we can't do that because the person, because Iceman's character is actually, Val Kilmer is having trouble, and he's kind of his disability with his speaking and things.
Yeah.
And he's mad about, this author's mad about that. So disability doesn't count. But however, you said about smelling the jets, funny story. So
Oh, wait, what?
Squid King was in school back when he was in high school. And their biology teacher asked them about, ways that, people have adapted when they their senses, like, they can't hear or see or whatever.
Yeah.
And the one person in the class, she's like, they're talking about echolocation. And she goes, oh, you mean like blind people? And Squid King this day goes around the house going, I can't see anything. I'm blind. Oh no. Thank God I have echolocation. And it's just funny.
You watched Daredevil, didn't you? You watched Daredevil. That's what that's Susan's special ability. She can fly jets without
with echolocation.
With echolocation. Anyway, and okay. So anyway, it's kicking all kinds of ass.
It's been, and it's still kicking ass.
It almost has enough to beat Black Panther. I don't know if it's done that yet, but it's getting close to beat Frozen 2. Nobody expected this movie to make that much money. I didn't expect it. I didn't. I thought, it'll do okay because Tom Cruise is still bankable. The Mission Impossible movies do well, and I thought, well, it'll do okay. But Top Gun was very much, a Reagan era movie.
But they found a way to make it a modern movie, and they tied it in. There's diverse people. There is one of the wingmen people that go in with them is a woman. And that,
she didn't get enough screen time.
I'm just like, this is the whole, all their arguments are really sad and lacking. Every time I see John Hamm, I keep thinking, oh, look, it's Tom Hamm from the Geico commercial.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That's what I keep thinking.
So, I mean, it's interesting, though, because he was talking about how much money Top Gun Maverick made. And I think it is a tipping point. I think it's a tipping point with the media because it broke their brains. I didn't expect it to make that much money. I'm like, it'll do okay. I thought maybe $500 million. It'll do all right. It's old, but, whatever. It's unprecedented how much money this thing has made. It feels like, not just a throwback to an 80s movie, but how long movies played in the theaters in the 80s. Now, this is before everybody had, VCRs and cable and all that. Not everybody had access to that. But back then, movies would sit in the theater for like 6 months, a year. And then they would bring them back like 2 years later, like E.T. was in the theater like God knows how many times, And
it's just cool. And I think that people behind the movie, I think there's a difference too in the way they've embraced the people around the film, the fans, etc. They didn't set out to alienate people. They just wanted to do a good movie.
Oh,
gave people what they expected.
It did beat Black Panther.
There you go.
It did beat Black Panther. There you go. So I wasn't sure where it's at. So it's number 5 all-time domestic box office. Just Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers Endgame, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. Yeah.
It beat Last Jedi.
Beat Last Jedi, beat The Rise of Skywalker. But he said it's unprecedented in many ways. It's one of the only top 5 films that doesn't have somebody in a cape or a spaceship.
That's a valid point.
It's a story about real people. It's got a lot of emotional resonance. People are really responding to it. And I think it's going to change the industry. I think studios are going to look at this and they're going to be like...
You know why it did well? Because they gave people what they wanted.
Literally, that's it. It's as simple as that. Why did Top Gun do so well? It had too much Tom Cruise.
No.
Not enough politics, and people went to go see it to support it.
It gave people what they wanted. Here's a movie about a legacy movie of IP about the character, and they gave people a movie about the character and with some new characters. And they did what everybody wants. Like when you see these franchises, you want that. And they keep trying to change that at Hollywood, and it keeps biting them in the ass. They literally just gave people a good movie with no agenda and what they wanted. That's it.
How much more money would Disney Star Wars films have made if they gave people what they wanted, which was Han, Luke, Leia?
And even if they passed on new people, that was fine. And Finn as a Jedi.
Yeah, and they didn't destroy the characters and kill the characters off.
They didn't have to minimize certain characters or elevate characters based on gender. Anyway, we're wrapping this up.
We're wrapping this up. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.